Hey, it's Jordan with TYT Politics. I'm here at the Pavilion at the casino and hotel. It's kind of a makeshift shelter. You can see people with sleeping bags all over the place, garbage, water. Everybody from veterans to water protectors are here. There's been a blizzard that hit Cannonball, Fort Yates, all of this region of North Dakota. It's pretty bad out there. The people are trying to get all the veterans out of the main camp, as well as any water protectors who want to leave, and temporarily relocate them here. And I'm actually here with someone from Iowa. You came in here, this is your 5th time, and you are kind of putting a spotlight on the fact that obviously Standing Rock has been ground zero, but Iowa is also part of a state where this pipe is going through, and it's completed in Iowa, the construction. So talk to me about all the struggle, the efforts to stop the pipeline there. I know it's been similar to here, and anything people need to know about the Iowa aspect of the Dakota Access Pipeline.
Okay, all right. People have been fighting the pipeline in Iowa for about 2.5 years now. It started with an organization called the Bakken Pipeline Resistance Coalition. It was a group that started, I think it was at the University of Northern Iowa, by a group of agriculture grad students that were concerned about this pipeline coming into Iowa. So they decided to host a meeting, and over 200 people showed up. Farmers, libertarians, Republicans, Democrats, environmentalists, Native Americans, hipsters, anybody. Anyways, so they were surprised. They didn't expect this kind of turnout. Iowa is farmland. Beautiful, beautiful. They call it black gold, the soil. And the farmers are extremely concerned about this pipeline going through their land, not just because of the health of their soil and what they grow, but because of also eminent domain. Something that, as a Native American, I get. So, but I'll talk about that in a bit. So basically, you have a real collaboration effort in Iowa. Because of this, there are a multitude of organizations that have joined the cause since Bakken Pipeline Resistance Coalition. And by the way, in Iowa, they initially called it the Bakken Pipeline because it comes from the Bakken oil fields in North Dakota. But now they've switched to the no DAPL terminology.
And the Bakken oil fields is about the dirtiest, crudest, dangerous oil you could really think of.
Actually, I don't know if it's the dirtiest, but it's the most volatile. A rate that can make it explode much in a larger explosion, like the one in Quebec that happened. I think that was Bakken oil, and it killed like 30 people in a town. So there are these organizations that have joined. One of them is Bold Iowa. There's the CCI, Citizens Concern for Iowa, something like that. 100 Grannies, by the way, who are amazing. They are generally like women that are retired, and they've been arrested. They've been manhandled, all of that. They've climbed over fences, under fences, to get to the pipeline. There is the Mississippi Stand, which is the camp that we have supported in Iowa to stop the pipeline. And there's us, Indigenous Iowa.
And is that camp like this camp right near the pipeline?
It was. As this pipeline has been fought, a camp eventually sprung up a few months ago in Lee County, Iowa, the very southeastern tip of Iowa. And right by the Mississippi, right where the drill was going under. And this camp, they called themselves originally ditch diggers because they were actually camped in a ditch on a farmer's property. They were evicted from that, and another landowner nearby offered them his land, and they went to that. I think the camp never got larger than like 200 to 300, but they were fierce, and they managed to pull off some fantastic actions. Largely, too, with the help from people from Sacred Stone that came down to aid them and to teach them some good old ninja ways of getting on the pipeline.
The river's the same. The river's the same blood that's in our bodies as our mother. We're trying to shut down this machine.
I ask you, because obviously here they didn't really consult the tribe. They didn't do an environmental impact study. It was pretty much, oil company style. review? In Iowa, did they consult farm owners? Did they consult landowners? What was the process before they started putting the pipeline in?
They did have hearings. They weren't advertised largely. They put it into their regular Iowa Utility Board meetings. So this whole project is, I guess, overseen by the Iowa Utilities Board. And the Iowa Utilities Board right now is actually being sued by a group of landowners, farmers, in Iowa. I think that hearing is actually on December 15th. They are concerned about eminent domain. They are suing about that. They are concerned about the underhandedness of how this all went through. For instance, the archaeological surveys that were done were deplorable. The head of the, or I guess whoever oversees this type of project in Iowa, the head of that department at the state archaeology office, he fought these surveys for a year and a half. Tooth and nail, as he said it in his words, and was eventually threatened with his job if he continued to fight these surveys, because he believed that they were very badly done. They were done by a notorious firm. I can't remember the name exactly, but it's something like Blank and McLaren, that is known for like taking on these sorts of projects, being hired by pipeline companies to come and do these surveys that in the end are not really correctly done. And we know why they're not correctly done, because they don't want to find anything, because if they find anything, then guess what? That's more work for them, that's more money for them, that's more time for them, and money is their master, right? So they got to listen to their master. So there's the archaeology. That was badly done. There's the environmental impact survey. That was badly done. There's other permits also that like are questionable. Hydrostatic testing permit. It's when they flush the pipe. And like I don't know the actual specifics of this, but I do know that the fluid that comes out the other end needs to be discarded in a proper way. And there's questions about where does that go. There's questions about what about when they were drilling under the river, when they were boring under the river, what happened to that fluid? Because that fluid is filled with petrochemicals, right? Because like they need to lubricate as they go down, and they, as far as I know, from what Mississippi Stand has told me, from what people have informed me, that they were just bringing it to some random pit, and I guess it was permitted, but it just didn't look like it was right by the Mississippi River. Right by the Mississippi River. So to me, that doesn't speak well to what sort of environmental impact that they are having.
So that's similar. I was going to ask, obviously here it's very clear. They're right next to the Missouri River, Lake Oahe, 18 million people. So this would also, if it leaks, affect the Mississippi River near you, as well as farmland and other natural habitats.
Yes. So the reason why I'm very passionate about this fight in Iowa has a lot to do with, like I said, climate change, first of all. Well, our sovereignty comes first. So I fight this pipeline in Iowa because it's a flank of the war from here, and I want to stand with my brothers and sisters, my relatives here in Standing Rock, and continue the fight in Iowa. But
in Iowa, is it affecting any native reservations or land?
It is not, and that's an interesting fact about Iowa. There is only one nation in Iowa, the Meskwaki Nation. They are only 1,200 people, and I think only 400 to 500 actually live on the settlement right now. And actually, it's called a settlement because they bought their land. However, so the pipeline is not close to them, but they are not necessarily happy about this either. But they are one nation, and because the pipeline is a state-run project, they don't really have a lot of power to speak up against the state. States and nations, state and native nations have never really gotten along. Let's just put it that way. We often tend to have a better relationship with the federal government. They tend to treat us better. So I think that is one reason why the Meskwaki themselves can't just take this on. You know, I continue to speak in Iowa too, is because I listen to these farmers and these libertarians speak about eminent domain and how terrible it is that they are having to deal with getting their land taken from them. And I am there to stand with them. I'm there to fight with them. I don't want their land taken from them for this sort of project. If it was for the greater good in general, that's a different story. This is not for the greater good.
What are your thoughts that you have a president coming in who's Mr. Eminent Domain, who loves eminent domain, and obviously made his billions on building real estate, hotels? He doesn't seem to have a problem with eminent domain.
No. I mean, you answered the question already. So, I mean, what do I think? I think we're in trouble. And I think that it's good that we're here right now because we're building a community, we're building a network of like-minded people that are willing to go back out into the world and continue fighting all sorts of social and environmental injustice.